Cincinnati Bengals are coming off a remarkable season. Before the regular season started, the Bengals were projected to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. And what did? They went 10-7. They won the AFC North, made it to the playoffs where they defeated the Raiders, the Tennessee Titans, and the Kansas City Chiefs, winning the AFC Conference. They made it to Super Bowl 56, where unfortunately their Cinderella season came to a sad end where they lost to the LA Rams 23-20 in Super Bowl 56. So following the Bengals Super Bowl loss, what is the state of the franchise for Cincinnati moving forward? Now, you are going to have two questions that are going to be asked and debated about the Cincinnati Bengals all offseason. The first one is going to be, did this season prove that the Bengals are going to be legitimate championship contenders for years to come in the AFC? Or was this just a one-off season where Cincinnati falls back to earth for the 2022 NFL season? The second question is going to be, will Cincinnati be the favorites to repeat as AFC North division champions? Or will they be behind Baltimore, Cleveland? Like, where will they lie in the hierarchy of the AFC North division? So, to answer the first question, Cincinnati most definitely is going to be a legitimate threat in the AFC. And I know that the AFC right now is stacked, okay? You got the Bills, you have the Chargers, you still have the Chiefs, you're going to have the Titans, you're going to have Baltimore, who is going to be fully healthy next season. Like, the AFC is probably as competitive now as it ever has been since it first came, or the NFL first had the merger and we had the AFC and NFC conference. Like, the AFC is stacked. Like, it's hard to really see what the next 5 years has in store for this conference and who's going to make it out, because it's going to be Russian roulette. Okay, like, no one team is going to have a firm grasp on the AFC conference like the New England Patriots had for almost 2 decades. That's not going to happen. There is going to be a lot of new faces in the Super Bowl for over the next consecutive seasons. I don't think Kansas City is going to dominate the AFC like how people think they are. Like, there are going to be so many different teams coming in and out of the championship picture, and I believe that Cincinnati is going to be one of those teams. The reason why is because, first of all, you have a stud in Joe Burrow, which he already is a top 5 quarterback in my opinion. I have him as my 3rd best quarterback from this season. You already have an elite quarterback, and you have him playing on a cheap rookie contract. So now you have enough salary cap, since you don't have to allocate 65% of your funds to your QB to throw money elsewhere at other positions of need. So now you can go in free agency and you can improve that offensive line. So going into the 2022 NFL season, the Bengals offensive line most definitely is going to be way, way better going in next season than what it was this season. And if the Bengals were able to make it to the Super Bowl with this offensive line, imagine what they can do with a better offensive line compared to what they had this season. Now, the defense is pretty good, even though you do have to question what's going to happen with Jesse Bates. Is he going to play on the franchise tag? Can Cincinnati come to agreement with him? Or is he going to walk and play elsewhere and sign with another team in free agency? The second thing when it comes to Cincinnati that they need to improve is going to be, can you get an elite right tackle? Like, there's not really a lot of elite offensive tackles in the game. There's probably only about 2 or 3. So if Cincinnati can find at least an average or above average offensive tackle, that is going to be huge. Now, defensively, okay, I would like to see Cincinnati add some more talent at cornerback and then a little bit more depth on the defensive line. And other than that, I like the defense. I know their linebackers have been up and down. Like their linebackers, Jermaine Pratt and Logan Wilson, played very well in the postseason, especially in pass coverage. And this defense overall was one of the most underrated defenses in the whole entire NFL. And don't be surprised if you see the defensive coordinator for Cincinnati in conversations around this time next season to become a head coach, because he did a very good job with this defense. Now, so Cincinnati definitely is going to be a contender in this conference for years to come. Now, the second question that I asked, will Cincinnati be a favorite to win the AFC North next season? And if they're not, where would they rank in the AFC North hierarchy? So I think it's pretty easy to see that the Ravens are most likely going to be the favorite to win the AFC North for the 2022 NFL season, because they have a really great roster that pretty much many people had them winning the AFC North and being in the AFC Conference Championship game, or at least being in that conversation. But however, they got hit with the injury bug right before the regular season kicked off. Then when the regular season got underway, things got even worse for Baltimore when it came to injuries. And even though they were still competitive, they still win the playoff picture, injuries started to take too much of a toll on Baltimore late in the year, and that's why they missed out on the postseason. So I think that Baltimore is most likely going to be the favorite by Vegas to win the AFC North. Then you're going to have Cincinnati right behind them. But I also wouldn't be surprised if we see Cincinnati as the favorite to win the AFC North in front of Baltimore, because Baltimore right now, we don't know what's happening with Lamar Jackson and those contract extension talks. And on top of that, Baltimore also has to improve their offensive line. And although Baltimore does have cap space, they don't have the same amount of cap space that Cincinnati has. On top of that, some of that cap space is going to be taken away when they end up giving Lamar Jackson that extension. Now, we don't know when that's going to happen, but for Baltimore, they don't really have any more space to add another high-level player like Cincinnati can, because you still got to have enough money to make sure that you can pay Lamar Jackson. So in terms of where Cincinnati is going to rank in the hierarchy of the AFC North going into the 2022 NFL season, they're probably going to be either everybody's number one team or their number two team behind the Baltimore Ravens. If you had to ask me right now, I probably would take Cincinnati to win the AFC North. Now, this is just right now. This isn't anything set in stone, anything like that, because we still got a lot of the off season, because the Super Bowl just ended. You get what I'm saying? At the time I'm recording this, I don't know when you guys are going to see this video. You guys may see this video a day later or 3 months into the off season. But you know, with the Bengals having so much momentum coming off the Super Bowl, like there are going to be so many players in free agency who are going to want to play for this franchise, because this franchise is not the franchise that it used to be when Carson Palmer was the quarterback. And a lot of people have to understand that. And the Bengals also proved a lot of people wrong when it comes to this Super Bowl window. Like a lot of people have this dumb behind theory that you have to be in the Super Bowl window, which means that you have a given time frame of when you can and can't win the Super Bowl. And basically, when your Super Bowl window is up, you're not going to have a chance at competing for the Super Bowl. Well, Cincinnati most definitely wasn't in anybody's Super Bowl window before the season started. So that just shows you that any team, any given year, is more than capable of being able to surprise everybody and over exceeding expectations. So if you're a Bengals fan, you're probably going to continue to be doubted, but people are still going to respect what you did this year. Like, there really shouldn't be too many people that are going to have Cincinnati just falling off and not being, you know, in the picture of being a legitimate Super Bowl contender, because when you look at how young this roster is, you look at how much cap space they have, there's really no excuse for why Cincinnati shouldn't be a legitimate threat in this conference. And I understand that there are so many talented teams in the AFC and even in the AFC North. However, Cincinnati, with the fact that they have a young quarterback in place that's playing on a rookie deal, and you still have some of your better players under contract, like Cincinnati has like a lot of time to win a Super Bowl. Now, it may not happen next season, it may not happen the season before that, but I definitely feel like Cincinnati should be able to win at least 1 or 2 Super Bowls with Joe Burrow as the starting quarterback. So you guys let me know your state of the franchise for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Bengals are in a really great spot. As a matter of fact, they probably are going to be one of the most talented teams in the NFL next season. Now, don't quote me on that. I'm just assuming that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to continue to improve via free agency, because they have been pretty heavy when it comes to spending money in free agency over the last 2 seasons. So I expect that to continue. The draft is just around the corner. So Cincinnati most definitely is going to be an even better team next season than what they were this season. And this is with the fact that they haven't even improved the offensive line yet. So imagine what they're going to do with a better offensive line. This Cincinnati team is really, really scary. So that's my state of the franchise for the Cincinnati Bengals. You guys give me your thoughts, how you feel about the future of the Cincinnati Bengals moving forward.